morning, everybody. Good. There's a weight when Chris Blackerby says good. When you all say good, it sounds like not enough. You say great. Just the Australians. Good is the highest compliment, yeah. Well, there's a weight then. Well, we had such a great time yesterday. It was so different, and everyone, the feedback from everyone, the wowers, the non-wowers, and everyone was like, someone was like, why won't this go on for like more than one day? I was like, I don't know whether the organizing team can. They wouldn't have been at WOW today. But it was such a wonderful service. Service to everyone, and it is a beautiful way to enter into that Christmas season. Yeah, and I loved it. Everyone brought something very special. Austin brought a little bit more. But, you know, and we were just talking about it even today. Our role is to facilitate whatever it is. You know, I'm not expecting, I mean, if I got up there with a Santa outfit rapping, it would be an absolute disaster. Okay, and I might repel people away. But each of us knows like what we're good at, where we can flow, where you're gifted, where you're talented. Everyone has it. So don't say, I don't know what my gift is, because you will get... everyone has it, right? And so whatever that talent is, let's use it to facilitate the freedom in other people's lives. Yeah? Let's use it to serve other people, to bring them out of their shell, to break them out, to help them to enjoy themselves, to lift up their moods, to you know, just take them out of the realm of the... And that's what happened yesterday. At different intervals it happened, but it happened really nicely at the end. And I mean, they really broke free. And at one point it was Baila, much to Philip's quality control nightmare. Yes. But it was all the foreigners who were dancing to the Baila. Because Baila's just not like, all the Lankans are like, but they were moving around. But all the foreigners were dancing to Baila. Yeah, it was fun, absolutely fun. And Muru, thank you so much for, like, he was at us, you know. He came and met me, he drove there, he sat me down, he showed me the chart, he forecasted things, he brought in, like, he made sure we were on this thing. You know, and actually, I mean, our role was limited in the whole thing, the organizing team, and them, they did a marvelous job. And I think, how many of you would like to have another one? Yeah? It's a definite do-againer. Definite do-againer. 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 You see the power of words? You can give double meanings. Yeah, so listen, recently, maybe more our online audience, but even some here would have done the Practical Prophetic course. And I was on my way to swim one day and actually forgot to pick Ruchi because I was caught up. We should have a warning on it saying, don't listen to this whilst driving. Seriously, you shouldn't. And he was talking of, the angelic realms, the realm of the angels. And when you speak of what your mind is on, what you think about, you bring about. It's like, if you need to be aware of them. I mean, we have our angels. There are angels assigned to everyone. Maybe without your knowledge, they're working on your behalf for sure. But when you're aware of them, you can actually consciously assign them. Yeah? And so, I mean, we constantly have these different experiences. We don't share a lot of it because it's something you need to do in your personal walk unless we're teaching on it. Okay, because there's nothing worse than somebody going on about their angels and you not receiving anything from it because you're just like, whatever. Okay, so it has got to be relevant to you. So there's got to be a teaching on it. So he was teaching on it, and suddenly there was so much impartation from it that this realm opened up, and I kind of understood more deeply than before of how they operate. And so they are in, you can't see them because they're in another dimension. Okay? And so you can't see them, you can't see God. Okay? But that doesn't mean he's not there. Okay? So they, at glimpses, you might be able to see them. At certain times, you might get a glimpse. You might just get a flicker. Okay? And that has happened many times. Or you might just feel a presence. Okay? And that's just when you're aware of them. It's like if you live in a certain zone, say I live in Navala, okay, I can't take my problem to the Vattala, what do you call it, local government, Pradesh, whatever. I can't take my problem there. I've got to take it to the Navala person. There's a person designated for Navala. There's a person designated for every single area. So then my relationing will be with that area. And then those people will work on my behalf. So like that are the angels. Okay, so if you're not aware of who your Pradesha contact is in the angelic realm, then I mean, okay, they'll do their thing, but you can, if you can engage them and if you can consciously send them out to work on your behalf, why are you wasting your time? Why are you wasting your time? Have you ever been driving and you're sure you knocked the car? You're like, sure you knocked the car, you can see it. Trevor, Naomi's nudging you. But then he actually knocked the car, no? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Maybe it just grazed. But I'm 100% sure I knocked the car and I'm like, oh. And I just close my eyes because I'm ready for the impact, but it's like it's gone through. There's no way you could have not knocked the car. It's like, but it goes through. Has that ever happened to you? It's happened to me. It's happened to me. It has happened so many times. You know, you see, have you seen those videos where people get saved? This one lonely fellow standing on the road, and this crazy drunk bus driver comes, and that guy, it just goes right through him, and he's there, and he's like, "What happened?" Have you seen that? Those are angels. Those are angels, because in one dimension, in the realm of heaven, things can go through you. You can go through things. Why do you think? How do you think Jesus got away from crowds? Why does the word go to mention such things? What happened with Enoch? He was walking with God. He's walking with him. Where did he go? Where did he go? He was a nice young man. Where did he go? Why does the word talk of Philip? And you know, after he baptizes the eunuch, remember? Why does it bother to say that it would have taken him days to get to that destination, but he was just there? Why? Why? It's not meant just for Philip. It's not meant just for Jesus. He's sharing it with you because these are realms of authority that we are supposed to operate in. It's like the prison door is open or the restriction door is open, but we're like putting an app and saying, it's open, thanks. It's open. Open the darn door and step out. It's open. Go out and explore. See what you can do. Try out your superpowers. Don't sit there and say, yeah, I'm free. Because it's not going to make a difference to anyone, including yourself. Because you're just sitting there. They might as well lock the door and take away the key. So all this is open to us. And we need to just be more aware, because he always says, my ways are higher than your ways. My thoughts are higher than your thoughts. Okay, and remember we did that diagram last time. I showed you the cycle of life and how we can conform to earthly patterns. It says, do not be conformed to this world. Okay, so how do we conform? We conform because we're used to a certain cycle of thinking, right? And so you're stuck in that cycle of thinking, and then you get stuck in a worldly pattern. How do you break negative patterns over your life? Because there's no reason there should be a negative pattern. Because the door is open. If you're stuck in there and the door is closed, then you can say, I'm stuck in here, every negative pattern can catch hold of me. But the door is open. It's open, and now you can break those negative patterns. You can break it by changing your thoughts. You have the freedom to choose. You have the freedom to control your thoughts, your mind. It's in the soul realm. There's something you can do about it. There's something you can do about it. And so how do we do it? How do we do it? How do we get born again? How do we get born again? By believing, right? But you see, in John 3, let's go there. In John 3, now this is, you know, you speak to different people, and it's okay. I can understand if people of the world have different conversations, okay? And because the spirit is extremely different from the world, the material world, and the way they operate. It's like mammon opposes spirit. Why does mammon oppose spirit? Because mammon has to balance the books. Like, I need to see everything at zero. I need to see the balance sheet. I need to see it. It has to be in form, not 1 cent off. Because if 1 cent is off, something is wrong somewhere, and I want to find out. It's measured, it's calculated, it has to balance. It's in form, it's like engraved in stone. Unless you have authority over mammon. Okay? Unless you have authority over it. So on the other side of it is the spirit. The spirit. And with the spiritual people, they're like, I'm not saying don't balance your books. Don't get me wrong. Be accountable with your business. But I'm saying it's not the be-all and end-all. Yes. Watch the weight and the seriousness and the emotion and the anger and the offense that you put into things like that. Yeah. Watch it. Because it's not going. Because then everything is written in stone. Watch how you treat people who fail and who falter. Watch. You can teach them, you can guide them, you can tell them, you can fire them. I'm not trying to tell you not to govern your work in an accountable fashion, but I'm saying, does everything matter to you like that? What is the weight you're putting on that? Or are you aware of a different dimension and a different realm actually where you are placed? How do you operate in that realm? Sometimes I try to practice this unless I run short of money. Like I would give something and I won't get the change back. I won't get the change back. I'll just give it. And what am I doing? I'm just practicing something. I'm like, no, it's okay. No, but this is priced at 10 rupees. Oh, how much was this? 200. Murut was 200. At least we didn't spend $1 million on a Christmas tree. It was 200 rupees. So why should I pay 250 rupees? No, sometimes just practice. Break out of it. Bless somebody. Use money. Use money. Use it because people use it in such calculating, hard-hitting ways. They use it to punish. They use it to reward. They use it to measure. You use it where it doesn't make sense. Use it when it doesn't make sense, but you're using it because you're aware of the realm that you belong in. You're aware of a different dimension and you're operating in that place. So once in a while you just, just to make sure, just to check. Oh, did it tug me in the wrong way? No, it didn't. Move on. So you're using unrighteous mammon. Yeah? So I'm not walking with the funny thing. I'm just like doing a bit of a break dance here. I've got an itch on my elbow. Okay, so John 3, okay? Look at this. John 3. Now, Nicodemus, okay? He's a ruler of the Jews, okay? He comes to Jesus by night. And he says, Rabbi, we know that you are a teacher come from God, for no one can do these signs that you do unless God is with him. Okay? Jesus answers and says to him, most assuredly I say to you, unless one is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. He just puts it out there, right? And Nicodemus says this, now listen to Nicodemus's response. Nicodemus is in one dimension. he does not know or see anything else. He has to run it through his usual pattern and cycle of thought and process. Okay? Did you say born again? Okay, so that means I need to re-enter my mother's womb as a little fetus and then emerge again. His natural process of thought. Okay? And then Nicodemus says, how can a man be born again when he's old? Can he enter for the second time into his mother's womb and be born? And Jesus answers and says, most assuredly I say to you, unless one is born of water and spirit, he cannot enter the kingdom. No, sorry, I missed the one above. Most assuredly I say to you, unless one is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. Okay? And then he says, most assuredly I say to you in verse 5, unless one is born of water and spirit, he cannot enter the kingdom of God. To Jesus, he's from a different place, although he's standing with his feet on earth talking to Nicodemus. He's transcending dimensions, although he's standing here on earth. He's showing and demonstrating to us what it can be like if Nicodemus would just believe. Yeah? So then he says, most surely I say to you, unless one is born again, born of water and spirit. And in verse 6, that which is born of flesh is flesh. You think things have to work in a certain way. You think everything has to balance out. You think that in order to use a term like born again, you need to be responsible. Because how on earth is that scientifically possible? How is it naturally possible? But then he says, that which is born of flesh is flesh, and that which is born of spirit is spirit. Do not marvel that I said to you, you must be born again. Such a weight on something that Nicodemus can't get his head around. Such a weight on people, when all they have to do, without making it so hard, is just believe. Get out of their minds. Start a new pattern and train of thought, because now they have the freedom to do so. And then he goes on to say, he's trying to get him out of his stoned. He's like stoned as in not on drugs, but like stoned, written on stone, okay? He's like so rigid. It's like, no, but it's got to be, I mean, do you meet people like that? I meet people like that all the time, not here. Right? And you have to deal with criticism like that all the time. No, but you said this, but your message said that. But I'm like, oh, just go with the flow. Do you know what I mean? It's by the Spirit. If it was up to the eloquence of words and vocabulary, we're all in big trouble. It's by the Spirit. Okay? And so he says, listen, the wind blows where it wishes. And you hear the sound of it, but cannot tell where it comes from and where it goes. So it is. So is everyone who is born of the Spirit. Okay? And then Nicodemus answered and said to him, how can these things be? He's like, I can't get my head around it. And then Jesus says, are you the teacher of Israel and do not know these things? Most assuredly, I say to you, we speak what we know. I testify what we have witnessed. You do not receive our witness. If I have told you earthly things, and you do not believe, how will you believe if I tell you heavenly things? Now he says this, no one has ascended to heaven but he who came down from heaven, that is the Son of Man, who now is in heaven. He is in heaven. Where are we? We are in heaven. We are in heaven. We're constantly thinking, I have to go back into my mother's womb. I have to ascend into a certain place. I have to go to a certain place. I have to make the trip. But he makes it so easy. He says, no, you are there right now. You're waiting to go. You're waiting to see. The grass is greener on the other side. Oh, no, it's better here. It's better here. It's better here. You look. You're going to be disappointed. Because all along, it was in you. All along, That power is already within you. That position is already where you are positioned. You just have to open your eyes and identify it. And then you have to understand that even though you're standing here, blood has been shed. A price has been paid. You have been compensated. Your enemies have been compensated. The people you've done the wrong things to have been compensated. Righteousness has been fulfilled. And now, as a result, not just because we're going and meditating and trancing out and seeing visions. No. Blood has been shed, so now you can take a higher thought. You can take a higher thought. You can stand in this place and you can choose to look at things in one way, the set, stoned way, or you can choose to take that higher thought. You can choose to believe greater things. You can choose to go to greater places. You can choose to bless people more than you've ever been blessed before. You can choose to receive blessing more than you can ever ask or imagine. You can choose to believe that there are no limitations. You can choose to take hold of life without limitations. Everything is open to you endlessly, without limitations, without the ceiling, because blood has been shed. Because the price has been paid. And so constantly we'll see people stay in one place and they'll be like, no, why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? And you're saying, why is this happening? But actually what you're saying is, God, why are you doing this to me? That's what you're saying. Why are you doing this to me, God? Why are you doing this to me? And he's like, why are you doing this to yourself? And you don't want to, it's not that you need to blame yourself, because there's no blame. You see, the accuser has been nailed on the cross. It was like an all-in-one thing. Like the best deal ever. He was nailed on the cross. Sickness was nailed on the cross. Death was conquered. Everything that had to be done was done. You just have to believe it. You just have to allow it to go beyond your intellect. Allow it to go beyond your experience. Allow it to go beyond religion. Dead religion. And dare to believe. And it all starts in getting into a heavenly pattern, a heavenly cycle, a higher thought. And it comes from changing your mind, changing your thoughts. And if we stand in this place, because I'll tell you, every time something negative happens, it's not that you see, there's no such thing as, I can't take it, it's not my fault. Because even if you did something that you could have done differently, you just have to think, I should have done differently. And you just have to think, I need to learn from it. Because no one is accusing you. So you're free now to grow. You're free to learn. You're free to repent. You're free to, judge yourself. You're free to judge yourself. Without saying, God, why are you doing this to me? Because that is, I'm a victim. And I'm refusing to take a higher thought. Because I'm holding it against you, God. Because I'm so big to myself, full of myself. So he's opening up. Listen, it's important because there's a conformation, even in the church. There's people wanting to be relevant. And I agree with being relevant. I don't want to be one of those people who's just constantly speaking of heavenly this, heavenly that, angels here, jumping here, there, whatever, and everybody thinks I'm a loony. Because it's got to be beneficial to you, otherwise I'm living my own experience. How am I serving you? Unless I'm opening up the realm for you. Okay, so it's not just me going on about whatever, but it is about teaching on it. It's not that we don't experience it. And we shared about, did we share with you the time we went and met Joshua Mills? Actually, that was the first time I experienced it, and I knew what was going on. And he said, listen, you're going to see angels ascend and descend like never before. Okay, and we got totally wrecked. I can't even remember what he said because I had to buy the CD afterwards because he was just like a goner. Okay, and I've never seen him so gone because he was always so composed, so in form. And if I giggled like a little out of place, he'd look at me. You're disturbing my very deep revelation. Like, and then we learn to flow. We learn, hey, no. This is a team thing. It's how it's supposed to be. He gets the revelation, we bring the freedom, and it's a party. Right? And that's how God intended it. And thank God we flowed together in that way. And so he was a goner. But when we came back from Hong Kong, and this was in Hong Kong, and it was an amazing trip that we had where we got deeper level of grace from Rob Rufus, and we got the angelic impartation from Joshua Mills. And so we came back home, and we were trotting along, and Kirby, as usual, said, Fiona. Because I was just happily doing my thing, forgotten about Hong Kong and just gloating, whatever. And Kirby said, Fiona, don't forget the prophetic words spoken over our lives. I'm like, which one? And then he said, the angels. Be more aware of the angels ascending and descending. So I was like, okay. And then he went to sleep, and immediately this realm opened up. And I was like, Kirby, you're missing this. It's awesome. And they were just all over the place, and there was a presence, and even Blossom, my dog, saw them because she was like looking, and it was just a glorious experience. And then I was like, I was told that I can assign them. You know what I mean? So I'm like assigning them, and as I assign them, I can see the flicker, go. And they were going and they were doing different things, and everything was quickened for us. And I realized, my God, this is so awesome. And then you can gradually take your mind off them. Yeah. You can, because you're looking at, like, I'm looking at your faces. No, I'm kidding. I'm looking at the world. We're dealing with, and then you can get caught in function, and then you can get caught with doing, and then you think about them less, but you're aware. Yeah. You believe in the doctrines, you're aware, you know they're there, but it's not like, that's why you need to bring them into your thoughts again. Yes. You need to set your mind on things above. It doesn't mean above. It means above. Right here, right now. Just this dimension. This dimension. Right here. Right here. So don't be like, just chill. Because when you talk about them, before we started the meeting, Melissa didn't know what we were going to talk about. And why would she come and tell me this? Like, she could have gone and told Lucky. She came and told me that an angel shoved vitamin C in her mouth. No, why would she come and tell me that? What was the connection? Why did it sink? Because there's synchronicity. This is not... If you're standing at a TED Talk and you're talking about this, they're gonna look at you like, somebody lock her up, please. But you need to know that this is the truth. You need to know that this is a reality, and you need to know it's our reality, and you need to know the reason why it's available to you is because you're not from the same realm as the ones who are listening. It's available to them. I'm not being like all elitist. It's available to everybody. It's available to the whole world. It's available to every single religion. They don't have to convert. They just have to believe. And it's time that you realized, instead of worrying, thinking, regretting, dreading the outcome of the possibility of your problem getting worsened and multiplied by 1,000, that it's more efficient for you. It's more productive for you. It's more powerful for you. And it's more in line with actually who you are. Exactly how you became born again, by just believing and taking that higher thought. By thinking. Thinking. It happened in your thoughts. How did we come born again? Did you have to do anything? Did you have to go anywhere? Did you have to climb a mountain? Did you write an essay? Did you have to pass a test? Did you need a qualification? Did you need a university theological stamp? No. No. You didn't need to enter back into your mom's womb. You didn't have to go any hard way. It was just by your thoughts. Be empowered with that. Because everything is a thought away that you want. It's a thought away. Remember, what you think about, you bring about. What you think about, you bring about. Colossians 3. Oh, I think I'm getting high. Actually, my head's like a bit woo. I was just thinking, now in my mind, my thoughts are going there. My thoughts are there. And you feel so elated and hopeful. You feel like all things are possible. Oh, did somebody say, all things are possible? All things are possible. Oh, I think I'm at home now. I think where I was before, when I was worrying, I didn't belong there. That's alien to me. To be in that zone should feel alien. Like some of us, we can go there because we can have a symptom. We can have a phone call. We can have a fight. We can have different things going on and we can go there, but as long as you realize, I don't belong here, this is alien to me, and you come out without dawdling there. Dawdling is my new word. Do you like dawdling? Without dawdling there and acting like, what's going on, God? What have you done? And he's looking at you like, what are you doing? Get out of the pigsty. Get out of the mud. Just stand up. Just look up. Just open your eyes. Just take a higher thought. For heaven's sake. Okay, Colossians 3. If then you were raised with Christ, seek those things which are above, where Christ is sitting at the right hand of God. Seek. Set your mind on things above, not on things on the earth. Not earthly things, not lowly things, not the symptoms, not the negative reports, not the negative precedents, not the financial forecasts, not the doom and gloom, not what your worldly counselor is telling you. Not. For you died and your life is hidden with Christ in God. Oh, didn't I tell you? You died. And your life is now hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is our life, appears, then you will also appear with him in glory. In glory. In glory. I always remember Prophet Kobus was sharing, and he explained this thing, but it just blew me away, because you see, we're seeing not fully yet. Okay, so there are these snippets of things that we hear, and it just sinks with our spirit. And then we know there's truth there, but maybe we still don't have the ability to, you know what I mean? We're growing. We're learning, but he said this thing long years ago. And he said, they're finding out that when you take blood and you quicken the blood, you quicken it, what you get is light. Okay? And blood is like a very foamy, horrible, I don't like blood, but it's like a heavy substance, right? It's like thick. It's thick. You know, if there's an issue, the issue's with the blood, right? They say there's an issue with the blood. Sickness can be in the blood. And then I realized, okay, but where we have blood in us, so how is it possible now that we can become light? How can it be? But I have blood, but I bleed. If you cut me, I bleed. I still bleed. I can bring out all the doctrine I want, but if you prick me, I bleed. And how is it possible now that I can be light? And suddenly you realize, my God, the blood dimension is one dimension. We're not born of flesh and blood. We're not born of flesh and blood. We're now born of water and spirit. And if we identify ourselves in that place, it is possible that blood is not going to hold us down. It's not possible, but it is actually a reality. Because what is glory? Glory is light and life. Glory is light and life. And if I can identify with the position I'm in, if I can identify with the price that is being paid, if I can bring myself to believing in the thought cycle that the law of the Spirit of life in Christ Jesus has set us free from the law of the Spirit, from the law of sin and death. Okay, if I can get into that thought cycle, how do you know whether what's operating in me is blood or light? I quickened. How do cars miss each other or go through each other? How did Jesus walk through walls and go through the crowd? What happened there? He was present, feet on earth, but he was also aware that no one has ascended to heaven except the Son of Man who came down from heaven, who is now in heaven. So you can say that of yourself now. You can say, I am in heaven. I am in heaven. I'm standing here with my feet on the carpet of Ruby Hall, but I'm standing in heaven. I'm in the kingdom. I'm in the kingdom. What is your problem? What is the thing that is trying to pull you out, take your thoughts, occupy your mind, occupy those high seats that should be given just to Him? What is trying to exalt itself above this knowledge? What is it? Is it the church? Not this church. Is it tradition? Is it tradition? Because you know what? If you are sitting, it doesn't matter. You can say, I'm sitting in a church. But if you're hearing an old message, it's an old pattern. It does not have the power to break negative cycles over you. It does not. Only the blood of Jesus, as applied to the fullness of everything that had to be paid, being paid, can free you. Do you believe in the fullness? Do you believe that you can live and live and live and live and live? Do you believe that? Despite seeing things, despite hearing things, do you believe that? Do you want to lay hold of that? Because there's no, or do you want to bring yourself back in the box because you're looking at worldly records to confirm it? Or do you want to take His record? And do you want to say, it doesn't matter what I'm seeing, I'm not conforming myself to the world, but I'm being transformed because my mind now is being renewed and I'm taking higher thoughts and I'm believing greater things. And I know that nothing is impossible. Do you know that if you know, some people, they go very much into seeing spirits and demonology and casting out devils, and wherever they go, they always see demons. Now, People ask me, why does that happen? Why is that happening? And so is it, if it's not real, I'm like, no, I'm not saying it's not real. It's just that they're tuned into that. So now wherever they go, they see that. Wherever they go, they're engaging that. But if they're willing to believe that they don't need to, that they could fight their battles from a higher place, then they won't encounter it as much. They'll see it maybe far less. They won't be busy like going into all these different kinds of mantras to get things out. How often do you see that happening here? I'm not saying that we don't have it, but how often? It doesn't follow us around because it's a different dimension. A different dimension. Are you with me? So what you need to do though, wow, is you need to exercise your muscles. You have to exercise your muscles. When is an opportunity to exercise your muscles? It's when there is resistance. You can do it all you want on a nice happy day, right? And that's good too. But when resistance comes, when the problem comes, the problem is not there to overcome you. That is your opportunity now to build your muscles. To take the thought, the higher thought, not to get sucked down into the low level of your black hole of usual thoughts, but to come up above and say, no, I'm not feeling it, but I believe it. And so I refuse to let my mind go there, and I will not act on it like I usually do. I will believe on what he's done for me, and I will act differently. I will enact different things. I will start positive patterns. I'll break out of that and I'll start a new way without getting sucked in. Because one level it's control. On the other level it's faith. It's faith. The more you go into control, the more you're getting sucked back into the old. The natural. Yeah? Let's go to Hebrews. Hebrews 2. Hebrews 2. Hebrews 2. Hebrews 2, it says in verse 5, okay? For he has not put the world to come of which we speak in subjection to angels. But one testified in a certain place, what is man that you are mindful of him? Or the son of man that you take care of him? You have made him a little lower than the angels. You have crowned him with glory and honor and set him over the works of your hands. You have put all things in subjection under his feet. Okay? And listen to this. For in that he put all in subjection under him, he left nothing that is not put under him. But now we do not yet see all things put under him. But we see Jesus, who was made a little lower than the angels, for the suffering of death, crowned with glory and honor. He was made a little lower. Why does he say he was made a little lower? He was made a little lower for the suffering of death. Okay? So it's showing you the dimensional position that he had to be brought into manifestation from. Okay? Because it was a diable place. Yeah? It's a diable place, a perishable place. It was lower than the angels even in that sense. Okay? And he was brought there so that now he can take authority and put all things under his feet. Okay? Including death itself. Including death itself. I don't think you all got that. If you let your thoughts, if you don't take authority over your thoughts, if you don't allow yourself to ascend in your mind, in your soul, because the doorway is freely open to you. If you insist on controlling, on manipulating, on what do you call it, nitpicking, on no, if we're going to do this, I'm going to do that. If you insist on worrying, if you insist on being anxious, if you insist on taking matters constantly into your low level of thoughts, it is the realm of death. It's the realm of death. He has taken authority and put everything in subjection to himself so that now you can climb up higher. You can come up higher. Listen, when you think of someone that has done something wrong to you, okay? Everybody's thinking? Give me some time. If you think of someone who's done something wrong to you, there are different things that can come into your thoughts, okay? You can get angry. You can get offended. You can get bitter. You can, I just want him to be punished. You can sometimes feel that. Yeah, I'm just being real. Punish him. You can have different thoughts like, serves him right, Different things can come into you. Now, I'm telling you practically what's happening in your thoughts. When you're not applying the blood, when you're not acknowledging the compensation, when you're not being the righteous judge. Okay, your soul, your unconscious, your subconscious program doesn't know the difference between what you're applying to someone else and what you're applying to yourself. It does not know the difference. You're judging somebody for something and you think it's wrong, but eventually what's happening is it's a judgment on yourself. On yourself. So now you're wondering, you're stuck in a natural pattern. Now you're stuck in this natural pattern. You can't come up higher. You're wondering, what's going on? Why can't I break out of this? Why is this happening? And it's because you're stuck there. But the blood has been shed. The price has been paid. All you needed to do was believe. All you needed to do was take a higher thought. All you needed to do was apply that blood likewise in all directions, whether it be here or whether it be here. Always hope, always love. All you had to do was say, forgiveness is a possibility. I shall think about it. That's all. That's all. That's all you had to do. And then out. You're out. That's the power of what he did. It freed you to get into a better cycle. It freed you out of that low place. People who can't forgive, right? I mean, how they sound, their conversations, they get bitter and suddenly you don't want to talk to them anymore because everybody's doing something and everybody's being accused and it's just like here, right? You know that you've heard that. So you know how it can spiral you down. All they had to do was take a thought. All they had to do. Remember when Kirby's reminding me of a story. It's like when something goes wrong or when somebody starts coming up against you, okay, there'll be 150 people to tell you their wonderful advice. You should have done this better. This is really an area you need to look at. Perhaps this is a good opportunity for us to consider da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You remember what happened to Job when all that nasty stuff was happening to him? Remember what his friends advised him? Do you remember? And you remember how the Lord looked upon it? He looked upon it and he was like, who the heck are you to tell my Job what to do? Who the heck are you to speak these words over him? These are not righteous judgments. You have not rightly divided. There's plenty of people to jump in and bring certain things to the table and bring their own righteous thoughts. Maybe you can be on the receiving end, maybe you can be on the giving end. And all we're supposed to do is always hope. There are so many things happening now in the body of Christ, and people do wrong things. Okay, I'm not saying people don't do wrong things. They do wrong things. Men of God do wrong things. They fail. They're surely fallible. Okay, but there is a system now that does not look like the church, that brings about judgment and doesn't let someone get out of their problem. It's like, okay, I did it. Okay, I did that. Okay, 10 years ago, I did this. Oh my God, like, when can I move on? And I know what it feels like because we have the same thing. Sometimes you have the same thing. Oh, but I remember you. No, but I remember what you did. I'm like, for heaven's sake, if God doesn't remember, why the heck do you remember? There's nothing worse than reminding someone of their mistakes. There's nothing worse that will block transformation. Do you want them to transform? Then you speak to the transformed person. Do you want them to change? Then you look upon them not from that dimension, that realm of once a liar, always a liar. Once a cheat, always a cheat. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to add to this because
Is the mic on?
yeah, I just want to add to it because look, Job's friends came in to Job, and it says they came in a very, very good way. Okay, so if you look at the story of Job, you'll really understand. Please read Job. Don't be scared of Job. Job is an awesome story of a man who had certain fears in his life. And those fears, he says, the things that I fear the most are now coming upon me. It's if you ever seen the movie, I think it was Patriot, or no, it was the movie. It was with Mel Gibson. No, not Braveheart. It was the one where it was Patriot, I think. Yeah, you remember the one that he had the American flag and he was and his son died. Yeah, that starts off with that verse. He said, "The things that I fear the most came upon me," and that was my story, because I had so much fears, and Job, because that's from Job. He says, "The things that I fear the most has now come upon me." Job's story starts off like that. Okay, and then you have the story, and here's the interesting thing: you have the story of 3 friends who packed their bags from a far and distant land to come and advise Job now of why he was in this mess. Okay, and it's so interesting, and that what's nice is that you read the story, and these friends had such good, phenomenal spiritual advice. Some of them were like prophetic and stuff like that, and they were hearing from God. And so they gave him advice, okay? And so Job's story is about how people mess up. And I just want you to get Job's story. Then you'll understand it in your life, okay? It's not this frightening story. It's about how people mess up and how the devil uses men to lock you down into what has gone wrong in your life. That's Job's story. And when you see it like that, how the accuser comes through your friends, through your family, and through men. And so the friends, that's why you go through the friends' advice. They're so nice, and they're so loving, and they're so all that is. And at the end of the story, God looks at the friends and he says, "You know what, I detest you. I'm angry with you. Because when you went to meet your friend, you never ever had justice in your heart." That means you looked at it with a perspective. You looked at it with a perspective of control. You looked at it from a natural point of view. You never saw the redemption plan. You never spoke to him about God's redemption. That's the problem. The problem in Job's story is that his friends never had the faith for his redemption. But they all had solutions. They had phenomenal, earthly, natural, spiritual, religious solutions for Job. But none of them had the grace and the goodness and the faith. Their eyes were not open. They only saw Nazareth. They only saw the carpenter's son, how he could have made the mistakes, how he could have avoided the mistakes, how he could do better next time. And church today looks like that. And we've got a whole lot of Job's friends at church.
Yes. Yeah.
When things go wrong, no one has the ability. The one thing that God is looking for you is the ability for you to open your eyes and see the redemption of God. My Redeemer lives.
Yes.
My Redeemer lives. And that comes from there. It comes from Job, where he says, "My Redeemer." Job answers his friends. And he says, "I look upon the heavens because my Redeemer lives."
That's right. Yeah.
Do you understand? He said, when I'm looking for a witness, Job answers his friends. He says, "When I'm looking for a witness, I look at heaven and I say, oh, heaven will witness to me." Have you ever felt like that in your life? When everyone got good ideas because all your ideas have gone to pieces. Huh? And they've got all good opinions, okay? Good things that look good to tell you. Yeah? But they don't have what it takes to have faith. He says, "Oh, what good can come out of Nazareth?" When Philip and Nathaniel are together, he says, "What good can come out of Nazareth?" And then, "What good can come out of Nazareth, really?" And he says, Jesus says, "One day, man, your eyes will be open, and you'll see that angels ascend and descend upon human beings like you and me." Do you understand? Jacob fell asleep. And he was able, his head was on a natural pattern. His head was on a stone. He didn't even have a pillow, a feather pillow, that he was used to. And suddenly he picked himself up from his feather pillow and he said, man, I can tell you something. You know, I'm between a rock and a hard place to say. Okay, but I can tell you one thing. I discern that God is in this moment. His thoughts just changed. His thoughts just changed. All he did was change his thought. His head was on a pillow, on a rock. You understand that? He could easily have said, oh man, this is hell. Okay? But suddenly he discerned. His spiritual eyes were open.
Right on.
You understand that? And he said, God, this is Bethel. This is the house of the living God. And he saw exactly what Jesus said. What good can come out of Nazareth? What good can come out of your natural circumstance? Take a higher thought, man. Because I tell you, as you take that higher thought, it's a ladder. It's the place of Bethel. It's a place where you ascend up and down, up and down. Angels, like what Fiona was saying. Ascending and descending. And all it took was a thought. It was a thought for Jacob when his head was in a pillow, and some of your heads are on a pillow. Okay? On a rock. Okay? It was a thought. It was a thought. I like that, you know. His head was on a rock. Okay? And then he realized that it was heaven. That's what you call a believer, right?
Yeah.
That's what Fiona is talking about. Yeah. And I know sometimes it says believe. Even Fiona's not even telling you to believe, because we go in and out of believing. Okay, I'm trying to explain you to identify, to see, to be able to take the thought for a moment. Maybe God is around. That's what Jacob got up and said. Maybe God is around, and I missed it. Okay, and it was just a thought, and that's the same thought that Jesus, when he looked at those who said, what good can come out of Nazareth, it was the same thing he said. He said, what good can come out of the natural, right? You're seeing a natural circumstance. Nazareth, the place where everything useless comes from. What hope can come from this place? He says, my God, you know, he says, one day your eyes will open and you will see the ladder. Yeah. The portal. Yes. And the portal came when Jacob had the thought. Okay? And he saw angels ascend and descend. Ascend and descend means portal. Portal to the place where Jesus has put you. How did that happen? Thought. Okay? And Jesus says one day you'll be born from above and you will be able to think those thoughts. And so thinking the thoughts are important. You know, what you think about, you know, it says what does it say? You bring about. What you think about, you bring about. It's as simple as that, guys. And how is one born again? How? Come on, shout it out. How is one born again? I don't like the word believing. I don't like the word believing because it gives a wrong connotation. Yeah. Tell me again, how is one born again? Shout it out. I can't hear you. One person. Shout it out at the back there. Thinking. I can't tell you the power of thoughts. Take every thought captive, he says. You see, you're born again just by thinking. So don't say believing. Because believing can be just your mouth saying it, but your mind is futile. You can say, I believe, but where are your thoughts? I know where you believe from your thoughts. Okay, what are you thinking is what matters. Okay, and that is how you are born again. You just think and you know. And that's not just some positive thinking, some new age something. You think of the redemption plan. And that thought doesn't happen. And here's the closing understanding of this. Okay, that thought does not happen by you thinking about yourself. That thing happens when you think about others. And that's the key about it. When you look at someone else and you can see, that's called faith. You can see the redemption in their life.
Yeah, you see them through the cross.
You see them through the cross.
So good.
The problem with church today is that they're too busy thinking about themselves.
Yeah.
But when you start looking at people, and I can tell you one thing, that every time you have a problem, don't tell me that God didn't give you a solution just a couple of days before. Don't tell me that God didn't give you a solution just a month ago. Don't tell me that God didn't give you a solution 6 months ago. Believe me, if the problem is around the corner, prophetically, your eyes should be open. You will have the opportunity to sow the right seed now.
Yes.
So that when the problem hits, you can't avoid the problem. You can't avoid the problem. Okay? But when the problem hits, it's not such a bumpy road. At least for you. It looks bumpy for everyone else. But for you, because of the seed you sowed, the opportunity that came, okay? I mean, I was really watching in the US, some things are going on with churches and stuff like that and all that. And I was watching an interview that, I've been watching a bit of it for a little while. And I've been watching an interview recently of how a panel of judges have been set on someone who had fallen. When church ministers fall, they set up panels of judges. And some people who are very dear to me were involved in all this. And I love them very much and absolutely honor them and believe in their integrity. But also, I've had the Lord speak to me about that kind of thing. And I was watching this thing yesterday about a minister of the gospel who had fallen. Okay? And some of the stuff he was saying was terrible because he was a man of God and he was saying about his misdemeanors in the church. And it was really, really sad. Really, really sad stuff. And I was thinking, man, I can't believe you were a minister of the gospel and you had done those things. Okay, he's openly saying it now that he's done those things. And I was like listening to him, and I just felt a tug on my heart. And the tug on my heart was, Kirby, now is your opportunity. Now is your opportunity to see the redemption that I've given. And I processed my heart through watching the whole thing because I knew it was my opportunity because I've been a part of scandal. I've been a part of people scandalizing my life. We've been a part of people falsely accusing us. Okay? So how do I know? How do I know before I cast that stone?
Yeah. Right.
Even if it's factual. Okay? I've been redeemed.
Yes. So good.
Honestly, in stuff like that, because of the absolute fear of God, I rather keep the stone down.
Yeah.
Okay, till yes, exactly. But I'll rather keep it down. I'll rather keep it down because I picked it up. You naturally pick it up. Okay, but it's so easy to pick stones up. Oh, it's so easy. We're doing it all the time. You don't understand the spirit of the accuser. He's always accusing. Accusation rises up in our heart at every single thing. Whether it's a good meal, a bad meal, the waiter served well, didn't serve well, whether the leader spoke well, whether they didn't speak well, whether they did the right thing. Accusation is coming. Okay? And we rather, honestly, the better thing to do in a situation like this, because that's right there is the thought. That thought can be arrested.
Yes.
Because honestly, because I love justice. And people say, but Kirby, you need to speak out if you like justice. You know what? The fact of the matter is that justice was done on the cross.
Yes.
And that has always to be a higher realm.
Yeah.
It always has to be a higher realm that we look for justice on the cross. I mean, I can look at someone through the justice that was done on the cross before anything else. And that's my strong emphasis, was that he was redeemed.
Yeah. Yes.
I was redeemed. That could have been me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That could have been me.
Everyone put their
Okay?
stones.
And that gives me a patience, not just in my speaking, but it gives me a patience in my mind. And believe me, there's a charismatic fable that says that the devil cannot see your thoughts, and that's a damn lie.
Yeah.
If you believe that the devil cannot see your thoughts, you're in big trouble. The devil can see your thoughts. Everything in the realm of the spirit, everything in the realm of the spirit is telepathic. Okay? And everything at the thinking level, including God. God is a telepathic being. Okay? He talks through thoughts. We share the mind, the headspace of Christ. The same way the devil sees your thoughts. Okay? And so he moves according to what you're thinking. Now, what's the best way to not attract him? Okay? Exactly. Not to have the same resonance that he has. So every time, yes, I'm accusing. Every time I'm accusing, I get into the pattern. I get into the same natural pattern of my accusers. There's no difference between them and me. Do you understand that? Okay? So I think I'm doing a whole series happening on Tuesday. Word, thoughts. Word, thoughts. Why the word comes into you and why we need to have the right thoughts. And taking an audit of our thoughts. So here's the thing. Believing, okay, I'll leave you with this. Believing, okay, or unbelieving, or whatever it is the whole thing needs to be able to rest on the cross. Our thoughts, every thought. What happens if I can send every thought through the cross? And that's what you need to do. Filter every thought and send it through the cross. And once it comes through the cross, it's modeled differently. That's what I want you to know. Every thought. You have 40,000, 60,000 thoughts per day. Okay? What happens if you can slow that down? Thoughts slow down. Once you start sending it through the cross, what happens if I can send it through the cross and when it comes down on the other side, it looks like something else? That is the slowness to think. Yeah, the cross, yeah. Okay? The slowness to think is process it through the cross. Patience. And as you start processing it to the cross, you'll realize that your reality changes. The material realm changes. The wave function doesn't collapse in a way that will be negative for you. Do you understand? It will keep you in the flow of things. Okay? So I'll leave you with that. Ben, can I have you up? Thank you, Jesus. Father, we praise you. We praise you. And I'm just prophesying to this church right now. I'm just telling you guys, okay? 2020, I know a lot of people have prophesied that it's going to be the year where you will see. It's 2020 vision, okay? So, and that is true. That is absolutely true. It's 2020. It's a year where you will have new vision. You will have new eyes, okay? Your ability to be creative will be absolutely exponential. It is the year of creativity, okay? Creativity will be through the roof in every single area of your lives. I'm prophesying to you right now. Okay? Creativity will be new in finances. Creativity will be new in industries. Okay? There'll be vision. Okay? Because that's why I'm teaching a lot on write the vision down. Write the vision down. Because if you write the vision down, you'll be able to run with it. Set yourself on the rampart. Set yourself up on a high place so that you can see. So that you can see. So that you can see. Do you understand that? Okay? So that's the year I'm setting you up. So this whole series for the next 1 month is going to be on thoughts. Okay? And it's going to be on word so that you will have vision for next year because those who can see will win. But the key is how you will see. We need to see differently. We need to see differently. Okay? So I prophesy right now that our eyes and our ears will be open for the new things that God is going to do. Oh God, do not keep us in the old. When we cross over in 2020, oh God, Father, we shake the dust off us. The dust is the natural man. We shake the natural dust off us and we enter into the ascended place. We enter into the heavenly place. We enter into the realm of heaven, oh God. Oh God, where you are. Open our eyes so that we can see the compensation, the payment for all debts to free us from bondage, from the beggarly, poorly elements of the world. Oh God, Father, open our eyes to that. Open our eyes to that.
His body on the cross.
What's happening?
His blood poured out for us.